You may not be on strike, and you might not ride the bus here in Las Vegas, but it is your bus system, and the striking drivers are now being told to get back behind the wheel or else.
News 13's 11 minutes of nonstop news begins now. It is 5 hours and counting. Hello, I'm Cathy Ray.
And I'm Ross Becker. That's the deadline for CAT bus drivers, 4 a.m. sharp. That's when they must decide to go back to work or possibly lose their jobs. News 13's Veronica Sanchez joins us now from the picket line. Veronica, that's the ultimatum from ATC Vancom. Are the drivers going to bend at all?
Not by the looks of things, Ross. In fact, strikers are out here in full force. They say they are not budging. They're going to wait this one out. As for bus riders, the people directly affected, well, they're going to be waiting too. As the sun sets on Las Vegas, Pablo Reyes sits down at a bus stop.
I'm going to Rancho in Charleston.
His bus is late again.
I always feel angry, because I have to wait too much time.
15 minutes go by, 20.
That's it.
He's never had to wait this long.
Like 25 minutes.
Finally, it comes. This lone bus rider goes home. On the other side of town, another man also waits alone.
No, it doesn't bother me one bit.
He's a bus driver on strike, waiting for the 4 a.m. deadline, an ultimatum from ATC Vancom that reads like this: put your picket signs down and go back to work, or you may not have a job in the morning.
We're just as stubborn as they are.
But David isn't worried. Drivers rejected a tentative deal with ATC yesterday, electing to continue striking.
You have to show people that you have stamina and that you're willing to stick it out. That's what striking is all about.
His fellow picketers have left.
I just stay here and watch everything. You know, I'm the only one here. So.
They've gone to a union meeting to keep drivers united and to strategize.
This is a boring job sometimes, you know. You just got to stick it out.
David is left behind to keep the strike going.
All right.
And only time will tell if he'll still have a job come tomorrow.
No, it doesn't cross my mind one bit. Not one bit.
He'll just keep on going. One man against the buses.
I'm not going to give up.
David is no longer alone out here. There are plenty of picketers beside him now. If this 4 a.m. deadline comes and goes, and these picketers are not back to work, ATC says it will just have to move on and hire more replacement drivers. They say they cannot guarantee these people's jobs will be back here in the morning. Reporting live, Veronica Sanchez, News 13, inside Las Vegas.
And we will have the very latest on that on Good Morning Las Vegas. As for the culinary union, 17 resorts are still without contracts, but they have all agreed upon one thing. They've extended the current contract for another 30 days. Now that's going to give them until June 30th to iron out a deal with the union. Right now, Boyd Gaming is the largest casino owner without a tentative deal.
A confusing crime in a West Las Vegas neighborhood tonight. According to police, here's what happened. Officers were on their way to another call when they found an accident between a car and a van near Viking and Jones. Now, when they stopped, the man inside that van took off running. Officers chased him. One officer broke his ankle, but the man got away. Now, back at the accident, police say the man was ramming the van into a car. A woman was unconscious inside that car. She was taken to the hospital, and to top it all off, police say the van was a stolen van.
The recovery and cleanup effort at Ground Zero in New York City is officially over tonight.
That's right. Just over 8 months of working around the clock, recovering bodies and removing World Trade Center rubble. A squadron of police helicopters filling the sky today as a procession of police and firefighters remembered their lost colleagues below. More than 60 firefighters here in the valley helped in that recovery effort. Today, they looked at that cleared lot and wondered how it all happened so fast.
There were still areas that were on fire, burning, smoke, and now to see it just an empty, vacant lot.
You'd think, man, there are going to be years cleaning this up. Now it's all clean, just like everybody else. We're wondering what they're going to do with it.
The last steel beam of the Twin Towers was taken to Kennedy Airport, where it will be stored until it becomes part of a permanent memorial at the site. Another big change for the FBI's terrorism policy. Just yesterday, the agency made terrorism its top priority. Today, Attorney General John Ashcroft announced agents will be able to do more without warrants.
I've heard recently men and women of the FBI in the field are frustrated because many of our own internal restrictions have hampered our ability to fight terrorism.
Well, under these new guidelines, agents can virtually go anywhere the public can go to investigate suspected criminals. Now, this includes internet chat rooms, churches, and political rallies without any evidence of a crime. The Justice Department says it's all because the FBI had evidence Al-Qaeda used the internet to gather information about potential U.S. targets.
Well, some big changes could be coming back to Los Angeles International Airport if Mayor James Hahn has his way. He wants things back to the way they were just after September 11th. No personal cars would be allowed near the main terminal. Passengers would have to check in miles away and then take shuttles to the actual airport. LAX has been a terrorist target before, so officials want to make it safer. But the cost is high. The plan could cost $1 billion.
A high-ranking member of the Air Force was in town today to help recruit Latinos to join ROTC programs and to serve in the military. Dr. James Roche is the Secretary of the Air Force. He says Latinos here in America have a lot to offer the armed forces, and the military has a lot to offer them.
We should get our percentage of that talent. We're not doing them a favor, they're doing us a favor. And we want to make it clear that there can be a terrific career, both in the enlisted ranks and the officer ranks.
Roche was here for the National Image Training Conference. National Image is an organization to improve opportunities for Hispanics.
We have some new information tonight about that Papillon Tour helicopter crash that killed 6 people a year ago. It turns out that the chopper's engine was pieced together from salvaged parts just a few days before it went down. Records show the engine was salvaged in Japan. The chopper was rebuilt in New Zealand and then shipped to Las Vegas for the Papillon Tours just a few days before that fatal flight. Right now, the crash's only survivor, Hani Daskal, is suing the company and the estate of the pilot. Well, this was shown live on Portland television today. It was a helicopter crashing on Mount Hood.
Now, that chopper was attempting to rescue 9 stranded hikers when rescuers virtually became the rescuees. Let's take a look at this. The climbers fell into a crevasse this morning. A National Guard rescue chopper went up to pick them up, but crashed and rolled down the side of the mountain. Look at it there. 4 crew members were on board, at least 2 of them critically injured. Conditions up there were good, but wind may have played a factor in this crash.
I don't know the weather. I mean, it's fairly clear, but it is tricky up there, and these guys do a great job getting these patients off the mountain.
As for the climbers, 3 of them died. 2 others were critically hurt. Most of them were local fire and rescue personnel. Now, let's take another look at that crash. Try to figure out exactly what may have happened.
Yeah, if you take a look at this, you can see that the first little wobble of instability there, just as he was coming down close to the snow, it tries to pull away from the mountain. Then the helicopter settles in. Eventually, the rotors hit, and it tumbles right down that mountainside.
Scott Burton joins us now to break this video down for us. Now, between the altitude and the low clearance, it looked like the pilot really had no room at all for error.
Oh, Kathy, that's exactly right. You figure the higher in the altitude you are, the thinner the air, and the tougher any aircraft, for that matter, is to fly. So today, we actually talked with an experienced local pilot here to get his thoughts on the crash, and we also wanted to compare it to a very similar accident on a California mountain just about 2 years ago.
There we are talking about things going wrong. Hang on, fellas. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that is
not
horrible.
a scene from a movie at all. It's real, and it happened today.
We do have a Black Hawk that has crashed.
So what could have caused the crash? We turned to local helicopter pilot Mel Larson for his best guess.
Where the difficulty is the altitude, and then, you know, not knowing what the winds were around there, and coming in and then trying to hover in an area like that, and you get into a situation like settling with power. You just lose the lift of the helicopter, and it just keeps coming down.
And that's exactly the thought today at the crash scene.
There's not a problem with the weather conditions. The problem is the altitude.
Pavehawks can operate up to about 14,000 feet, but even about 10 or 11,000 like today's crash, hovering's still tough.
At best, if all conditions are perfect, you know, that's a tough situation to be in.
Mayday! Mayday, mayday! And a crash like today's isn't the first. It's happened before. Mount Shasta 2 years ago. Another helicopter down looking for climbers. Wind and high altitude were blamed for the crash. In fact, today, one witness close to the accident said he felt the helicopter actually lose lift.
I felt the wind sort of dissipate overhead. I sat up, and then it just hit the ground and started rolling and ejecting bodies.
Rescue missions aren't easy, especially at 10 to 12,000 feet. Even the best pilots in the world can lose it. Now, what will likely happen now is another helicopter will lift the downed Pavehawk off of Mount Hood. That's exactly what happened to that Black Hawk helicopter on Mount Shasta a couple years ago.
Wow. So, yeah, we understand the Air National Guard just lifted that chopper off with another helicopter? How's that going to work?
Well, basically what happens is a Chinook usually comes in, puts a couple riggings on, lifts it up, takes it down to another airfield where the investigators can examine at that point.
And being very careful.
Exactly,
obviously.
without a doubt.
All right, Scott, thank you.
Scott, thank you.
All right, well, no snow here, nothing like that we saw on Mount Hood. If you like the weather here today, I guess we got another 4 months of it, though, to enjoy, don't we?
Yeah, Nate has tomorrow's wake-up forecast for us now. Nate.
You betcha. We'll start our look ahead once again by looking back. Starting 24 hours ago, some clouds over the Pacific Northwest. Are they heading our way? Yes and no. There's actually a huge area of high pressure, and some of the clockwise circulation around that high may bring some clouds our way. I think we actually have a better shot of these clouds here off the California coast coming our way, and that may bring the high temperature down a degree or two. Well, let's first of all start with the early morning hours. That's when we're talking about the possibility of a record for a very warm overnight low. Actually, if we hit the mid-70s, we'll still be off from the record for one of those odd records, the warm overnight low. Well, the record high for the daytime hours is 104, so warm, hot, you take your pick. We're talking about 103 and some breezes. We'll take a look at the weekend in just a few minutes, Ross and Kathy.
All righty, Nate, thank you. Well, taking a test on the hottest day of the year to date is no picnic, but some local elementary students turned it into one. That's because the air conditioning went out at Wengert Elementary School today, so hundreds of kids had to deal with the heat in their classrooms for almost 2 hours. That is, until the principal at Las Vegas High decided to invite them on down.
Opened up the school, no questions, gave us 2 gyms, brought out bottled water for staff to drink, brought extra supplies for the restrooms. They've been great.
Well, the air conditioning isn't up to par yet, we understand, so Wengert Elementary students will have tomorrow off. However, teachers must report to school. Still ahead tonight on News 13 at 11. Looking for an extra hand in the kitchen, perhaps?
Everybody does. Coming up, Contact 13 gives the spiruli a whirl. Find out if it lives up to its reputation. Plus,
hey, you're not going to believe what we just found in the yard.
Take his word for it. Come face to face with the world's largest rodent. Next on News 13 at 11.
Ross, Kathy, Nate, and Ron. The new team on News 13 inside Las Vegas. Ross, Kathy, Nate, and Ron. For more complete coverage of the news in your neighborhood, weeknights at 5, 6, 6:30, and 11 on News 13 inside Las Vegas. The Journal Broadcast Group is an equal opportunity employer and is dedicated to providing broad outreach regarding job vacancies at our stations. We seek the help of local organizations in referring qualified applicants to our station. Organizations that wish to receive information regarding employment opportunities should contact our Human Resource Department by calling 876-1313. The News 13 weather line, 248-4800.
Coverage News 13 continues with Ross Becker, Cathy Ray, Nathan Tannenbaum with your complete forecast, Ron Futrell Sports, and Tricia Kean with Contact 13. This is News 13 inside Las Vegas.
An alien intruder showed up in Southern California today.
Not from another country, but definitely from another continent. Take a look. This is called a capybara. It's the world's largest type of rodent. She turned up in a backyard koi pond today in Los Angeles. But they aren't from these parts. Capybara are actually from South America. This one is just a baby, we're told, weighs about 30 pounds, but they can grow to more than 140 pounds. Whoa. For now, animal control is trying to keep up with their appetite with veggies, but it could be a losing battle.
I read somewhere they eat as much as a horse, so they need a lot of food. This is how it would be eating. It would be nipping off pieces of grass and then using its tongue, putting that grass back to its cheek teeth where it will grind them up like that.
A full-grown capybara skull, perhaps, was that?
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
yeah.
Down south, capybara are hunted for their meat and pelts, but this one is destined for a happier fate, thank goodness, in a private wildlife refuge. It's really kind of cute. Looks like a puppy with little ears.
It does keep eating. We can put a saddle on it.
You could.
Huge of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Right here.
I think, I'm sure that wasn't a rat from New York.
That
was not a rat.
Okay.
Not a rat.
All right, rats couldn't survive in 106.
No, they couldn't. We did tie the record high for today. We're having a chance for tying the record high tomorrow, even though it's going to be a degree or two cooler. The record high for tomorrow is a degree or two cooler, huh? Rocket science. It's still pretty warm out right now. Take a look. Yeah, it was 90 degrees at this time last night. We're actually 87 at this hour. Sky cam looking out on the night sky. Yeah, mostly warm. Humidity, that is 17%. There's a south breeze, 8 miles an hour. Barometer holding steady, 29.78. Now, earlier this afternoon, Henderson got to 110 degrees. Hoo, boy. Well, everybody's going to back down a degree or two, but Henderson, you're still at 97 at this hour. Nellis, take away 10, you're at 87, 89 for North Las Vegas. Summerlin, you're at 87, and the National Weather Service checks in also at 87. And they made 113 for the afternoon high at Laughlin, and still hugging the mid-90s. Everybody else in the 80s and a couple of 90s. There's Prump at 79, and of course 54 cooler up on the mountain. And 106 the high today, tying the record high originally set on this date in 1997. Low this morning, 73. Sun gets up on your finally Friday at 5:25. Air quality is mostly good. Barely moderate reading of dust and some moderate readings of ozone out there. Your pollen count's coming up in just a couple of minutes. And we thought this low pressure system up here in the Gulf of Alaska would be a player, but it's kind of falling apart. So again, we're counting on some high pressure here and these clouds coming up from off the California coast to affect our weather in the next day or so with some cloud cover that will actually just bring our temp down a degree or two. Close to 110 down in Phoenix today. They're at 93 right now. Your family and friends across the nation, quite warm, a lot of records. And with those numbers, you're also forgetting or trying to forget the humidity going on up that way. And speaking of humidity and showers and thunderstorms, that was a tornado watch earlier today over Wisconsin. And let me try my Etch-a-Sketch skills here, trying to draw the space shuttle. It was supposed to take off today from Cape Canaveral, Florida, but they had to scrub the launch because of thunder showers down there. They will try it again tomorrow night, but they're laughing at my drawing. The forecast calls for another chance of showers and thunderstorms down there during the day tomorrow. All right, let's get on back to the newscast. We're talking about 75 as you start your finally Friday. Might be a couple of breezes to 15. There's the record high for tomorrow at 104. Officially, we think it'll stop at 103. Of course, some neighborhoods will be at 105 or beyond. That certainly includes the lake. Will be closer to 110 with afternoon breezes and a 72-degree morning low. That's more like the high up on the mountain, probably more like the mid-80s up on the hill. And the next 5 days, let's see what we got for you. Breezy and 98 for you on Saturday, and then, a cool 94 by Monday, and then we'll crank it back up to 97 on Tuesday.
Sounds great. Yeah. We weren't laughing at you.
No, you were laughing with me.
Yes,
yeah,
we
right.
were.
Okay.
Well, if you love to experiment in the kitchen, you may want to give this new product a whirl.
Yeah, the spiruli, as it's called, claims to slice and shred fruits and vegetables and make potatoes into curly fries. Contact 13's Tricia Kean put that product to the test.
Introducing the spiruli. It slices, shreds, and even chips. This easy-to-use turning slicer can apparently help you create curly fries, as well as many other gourmet goodies.
To see if the spiruli is really the perfect kitchen companion, we brought it into my kitchen to put it to the test.
I wanted to see if the 3-in-1 slicer would work on carrots, potatoes, and apples. First, I opened it up, and to really figure out how it works, I did need to look at the directions.
Okay, so here it looks like we have all the different blades that we're going to use.
I snapped in the chipper blade and pressed the apple in firmly. Then it started chipping away.
I want to make sure this is locked down.
And sure enough, look what started coming out.
This is kind of fun.
But it does take arm strength.
You get a good workout, too.
After I was done chipping apples, I did some cleanup and tried the shredder blade. But this one wasn't easy to figure out. It took several attempts of trying different carrots and then cutting my finger on the blade. But finally, look, we did get some carrot shreds. After some cleanup, it was on to the potato slicing. This one did the job. I had plenty of sliced potatoes. Then I really wanted to make those curly fries.
Let's see where we go with this one.
So I put in a new blade and started to go.
This must be curly fries.
They kept coming and coming.
Now those would make curly fries.
Then I heated some olive oil, did a little cleanup, and my mom made the fries. In just a matter of minutes of frying, gourmet French fries. Of course, I had to taste.
Those are good.
So, what were my final thoughts about the spiruli?
I would go ahead and buy this product if I like to figure things out and if I like to spend time in the kitchen and if I love French fries. So if you're interested in buying this spiruli, you can find it at Walgreens. The price, $19.99. For Contact 13, I'm Tricia Kean, News 13, inside Las Vegas.
All right, parents, now something new. You can see your baby's face in 3D before it's even born.
Still ahead, the health team shows you a new view from inside the womb. We'll be right back.
InsideLasVegas.com. Get updates on construction, road closings, and accidents. Just choose a specific location, and our webcams give you a live look at traffic. Only on News 13.
Welcome back. A new beginning for the widow of Daniel Pearl.
And of course, he's the Wall Street Journal reporter who was murdered in Pakistan. Today, Mary Ann Pearl gave birth to a baby boy, Adam D. Pearl. Daniel Pearl disappeared in Pakistan in January. Police found what they think is his body 2 weeks ago. They're still waiting on the DNA test to confirm it. 4 Islamic militants are now on trial, charged with his murder.
From the health team tonight, new 3D technology is making it possible to really see your baby's face before the birth. Dr. Stephen Wald at the Center for Maternal Fetal Medicine in Las Vegas uses this 3D ultrasound. First, Dr. Wald does a standard 2-dimensional ultrasound. Of course, it uses the high-frequency sound waves to see inside the womb. But then, using the Biomedicom computer, he transforms the image into 3D.
Two-dimensional ultrasound doesn't give the depth. The three-dimensional ultrasounds adds that depth to it, so you can actually see the features of the baby.
Dr. Wald says this technology is very helpful for doctors in diagnosing birth defects like spina bifida and cleft palate.
All right, coming up, a preview of tomorrow night's Lakers-Kings matchup.
A big game. Yeah. And there's a heavyweight title fight this weekend. Ron has a preview up next.
He is joined by his
Hello, I'm Cathy Ray. In May, only News 13 brought you new information about a deadly form of breast cancer affecting men and young women and told you what to ask your doctor to help you fight back. And do these diet drugs really work? We uncovered the truth so you can make a healthy decision. Plus, a radical weight loss surgery is changing her life. You learned if it's right for you. It's what you discovered and what you'll always get every night at 11. 11 minutes of nonstop news, plus Nate's Wake Up Forecast only on News 13 inside Las Vegas.
Contact 13, only on News 13, inside Las Vegas. Now, with more complete coverage, News 13 continues with Ron Futrell and the sports team.
All right, the Kings have a chance to do the nearly unthinkable tomorrow. Beat the Lakers on their home court, and the Kings will knock the 2-time defending NBA champs out of the playoffs.
We think we could do it. You know, I think we played them better on the road than we did at home.
It's gonna be really fun, you know, to close down there in front of their fans, you know, and in front of their people. So I think we're gonna enjoy that more. It's gonna be fun, you know.
He's talking in past tense there. Might be a language issue or something there, but the Lakers won't go down, of course, without a fight, and their coach, Phil Jackson, has won 3 straight when his teams have been in do-or-die situations.
You know, having his experience, you know, in these situations, in these pressure situations, definitely helps us out a lot as far as our preparation, as far as our poise goes.
When you don't see your president worry and your general doesn't worry, then usually our troops don't worry. So we're not worried. We just know that we have to go out and do what we're capable of doing. And if we do that, then 9 out of 10 times, then we should be fine.
I don't think Shaq ever worries about anything. I don't think, yeah. So. Anyway, Andre Agassi caught a bit of a break today, second round of the French Open against David Sanchez. Sanchez with a bad foot. He actually won the first set, Sanchez did. Andre then comes back and wins the next 2. Then Sanchez has more problems with that blister and has to quit the match. So Andre, the 4th seed at the French Open, wins and moves on to round 3. On the women's side, the top seed is American Jennifer Capriati. She takes on Amy Fisher today, not the Amy Fisher, just Amy Fisher. A lot of baseline action and a lot of waiting for somebody to make mistakes. Fisher does early and often, and Capriati wins 6-4, 6-3. A rough day for the Rebel golf team at the NCAAs. They have fallen into a tie for 24th, 13 over par. Round 3 takes place tomorrow in Columbus. There's a lot of talk about Tyson Lewis right now, but there is a fight this weekend. Hasim Rahman stepping on the scales, 224 pounds. He's going to take on Evander Holyfield Saturday night in Atlantic City. That's not Evander Holyfield right there. That's PR guy Alan Hopper.
Thank goodness.
Doing his best Julius Caesar. He looks like one of those guys you see walking around Caesar's Palace. No, he doesn't. Alan's a good guy. But actually, Evander Holyfield, though, right there, 216 pounds. This fight not expected to be a real big one, but at least the two guys can stand together when they do promotions, which is a unique idea in heavyweight.
Fight each other.
I don't see them fighting there. They're pretty calm. They're just comatose almost.
Right,
that's why the fight won't sell.
Thanks, Ron.
All right, thanks a lot. That does it for this edition of News 13 at 11. Thank you for tuning in.
If you like your short week, tomorrow's Friday. We'll see you back here then.